Jake Morrison stood in the big crystal room on Nexus Prime. The room was so large that he could not see the end of it. 47 different alien races sat in their special chairs. Each chair was made for their strange bodies. Some aliens had tentacles. Others had wings. Many had more eyes than humans. Jake wore his best uniform. The blue fabric had gold stripes on the shoulders. He was proud to represent Earth today. But something felt wrong. The aliens were not looking at him with friendly faces. Dr. Lisa Carter stood next to Jake. She had worked with aliens for 20 years. She knew their languages and their customs. Today, she looked worried. Her hands shook as she held the papers. From Earth, the Zephyrian ambassador stood up. Her blue skin was see-through like glass. Light moved under her skin in strange patterns. When she was angry, the light turned red. Right now, her whole body glowed bright red. The Galactic Council has reached a decision, the Zephyrian said. Her voice came from a machine because humans could not hear her real voice. We have studied the human species for 112 years. We have watched your actions. We have seen your true nature. Jake felt his heart beat faster. This did not sound good. Humans are too violent, she continued. You fight too much. You take what is not yours. You make weapons that should not exist. You are dangerous to peace in our galaxy. The Kralix delegate moved forward. This alien looked like a giant spider with 10 eyes. Each eye focused on Jake. Your species cannot control its anger. You attack first and ask questions later. This makes you unfit to live among civilized races. Dr. Carter stepped forward. Wait, she said. Humans have done good things too. We saved the people of Kepler 442b from the plague. We shared our farming methods with 12 worlds. We fought the raiders to protect your colonies. Many humans died protecting alien children. The spider alien clicked its mouth parts together. This was how they laughed. Yes, humans fight well. That is the problem. You fight too well. You like fighting too much. Jake wanted to speak, but Dr. Carter touched his arm. She knew the rules. Only the chief diplomat could speak for Earth. Humans have the right to defend themselves, Lisa said. We follow all the laws. We stay in our approved areas. We trade fairly with everyone. A new alien stood up. This one looked like a tall bird with silver feathers. The council voted this morning. The decision is final. Humans are banned from the galaxy. The words hit Jake like a punch to the stomach. Banned from the galaxy? That meant leaving everything. All the colonies, all the space stations, all the mining worlds where humans had worked for decades. You have 72 standard hours, the bird alien continued. All humans must return to the Sol system. Any human found outside your home system after that time will be considered an enemy of the galaxy. Jake could not believe what he was hearing. This is crazy, he whispered to Lisa. We helped build half these trade routes. Our scientists work with yours. Our children go to school with alien children. Lisa's face was pale. She had expected some punishment. Maybe limits on where humans could go, but total exile? This was beyond anything she had imagined. What about our colonies? She asked. We have cities on 47 worlds. Millions of humans live there. They have homes, families, jobs. The Zephyrian's light patterns pulsed with satisfaction. Not our problem. Your people chose to live outside Earth. Now they must choose to return or face the consequences. The Altarian delegate floated forward. This alien was just a cloud of gas, held together by energy fields. The decision protects everyone. Humans are like a virus. You spread too fast. You take too much. You change everything you touch. Jake's hands closed into fists. These aliens talked about humans like they were animals, like they were pests. To be removed. The vote was unanimous, the bird alien announced. 47 races agree. Humans must go. Dr. Carter tried one more time. Please reconsider. Humans can change. We can follow stricter rules. We can limit our expansion. Just give us another chance." "No," the Zephyrian said. "Humans had 112 years to prove themselves. You failed. You are what you are. Violent, greedy, dangerous. The galaxy will be safer without you." Jake looked up at the viewing window high above the chamber. Through the clear metal, he could see stars. Somewhere up there, Admiral Ben Hayes waited on the battleship UES Defiance. The Admiral commanded the human fleet that had brought them to Nexus Prime. Jake touched the small communicator hidden in his collar. 3 quick taps. It was a signal that meant trouble. Big trouble. The Council leader, an ancient creature that looked like a walking tree, moved to the center of the chamber. "The sentence is exile. Permanent exile. No appeals, no exceptions. Humans will pack their belongings and leave. Any attempt to return will be met with the full force of the combined Galactic Fleet." The gavel came down. The sound echoed through the chamber like a gunshot. Jake watched as alien delegates began to leave. Some looked happy, others seemed relieved. A few appeared sad, but not sad enough to change their votes. Dr. Carter gathered her papers with shaking hands. "We need to contact Earth immediately," she said. "President Cole needs to know." Jake nodded, but his mind was elsewhere. He thought about his brother Tony, who ran a mining operation in the Vega system, about his sister Beth, who taught alien children on New Geneva, about the millions of humans who would have to abandon everything they had built. As they walked toward the exit, Jake saw Admiral Hayes's ship through another window. The Defiance was a powerful warship, but it was just one ship against the entire galaxy. "They made a mistake," Jake said quietly. "What do you mean?" Lisa asked. "They think humans will just go home and stay there. They think we'll accept this." Lisa looked at him with worried eyes. "Jake, we have to accept it. Look around you. 47 races against 1. We're outnumbered 1,000 to 1. Jake smiled, but it was not a happy smile. "Numbers don't mean everything. They kicked us out because they said we're too dangerous. Maybe it's time to show them just how dangerous we can be." As they reached their ship, Jake saw Admiral Hayes waiting for them. The old soldier's face was hard as stone. His gray eyes burned with cold anger. "Admiral," Dr. Carter said, "the Council voted for complete exile. We have 72 hours. Admiral Hayes nodded slowly. "I heard the whole thing through your communicator. Don't worry about the deadline. We'll follow their rules for now." Jake understood the look in the Admiral's eyes. This was not surrender. This was tactical retreat. "What happens next?" Jake asked. Admiral Hayes looked up at the stars. "Next we go home. We tell our people what happened here. And then we start planning." Planning for what? The Admiral's smile was colder than space itself. "Planning our return." As their ship left Nexus Prime, Jake watched the alien world shrink behind them. The aliens thought they had solved their human problem. They thought exile would keep the galaxy safe from human violence. They were about to learn how wrong they could be. 50 years had passed since the exile. The galaxy had forgotten about humans. Trade moved smoothly between alien worlds. Wars had stopped. The Galactic Council met once a year and congratulated themselves on keeping peace. President Amanda Cole walked through the underground command center in Colorado. The mountain had been hollowed out to make room for the biggest military base in human history. Thousands of people worked here day and night. They built weapons. They planned strategies. They prepared for the day when humans would return to the galaxy. Amanda was 60 years old, but she looked younger. Medical advances had made humans live longer and stay stronger. Her grandfather had been alive during the exile. He told her stories about the shame and anger humans felt that day. "Show me the latest reports," Amanda said to her assistant, a young man named Kevin Walsh. Kevin touched his tablet and numbers appeared in the air above them. Holographic displays showed ship construction, weapon testing, and training programs. The numbers were impressive. In 50 years, humans had built the largest fleet in their history. Dr. Steve Parker walked up to them. He was the head of weapons research. His gray hair was messy from working all night in the laboratory. "Madam President, I have good news about the quantum disruption cannon." "Tell me," Amanda said. "We tested it yesterday on an asteroid. The weapon breaks down matter at the smallest level. It turns anything into dust in seconds. No alien ship has armor that can stop it." Amanda nodded. She had seen videos of the tests. The weapon was terrifying. It could destroy a battleship with one shot. Colonel Kate Brooks joined them. She commanded the new Genesis-class ships. These ships were bigger than anything aliens had ever built. They carried enough firepower to destroy entire fleets. "The new ships are ready," Kate said. "We have 500 Genesis-class dreadnoughts. Each one has quantum cannons, phase shields, and dimensional drives. One of our ships could defeat 10 alien vessels." Amanda smiled. "Good. What about the Prometheus project?" Dr. Greg Stone appeared on a video screen. He was calling from a secret base in another dimension. His team had learned to fold space and time. They could hide entire fleets in parallel universes. "The dimensional bases are complete," Greg said. "We have observation posts watching every major alien system. They cannot see us, but we can see everything they do. We know their ship movements, their military strength, and their weaknesses. For 50 years, humans had watched the galaxy through these hidden bases. They learned about new alien weapons. They studied battle tactics. They discovered which races were strong and which were weak. Captain Alex Murphy commanded the stealth ship, UES Shadow. His ship could become invisible and travel through alien space without being detected. He had just returned from a scouting mission. "Report," Amanda said. Alex activated a star map. Red dots showed alien military bases. Green dots showed their trade routes. Yellow dots marked their most important worlds. "The aliens have grown soft," Alex said. "Military spending is down 60% since our exile. Most races only keep small defense fleets. They think the galaxy is safe now that humans are gone." Amanda studied the map. The aliens had made a critical mistake. They thought humans would stay in the Sol system forever. They thought exile had broken human spirit. "What about their new technologies?" Amanda asked. "Nothing impressive," Alex replied. "They have improved their shields and engines, but they have not developed any new weapons. They focus on trade and exploration now, not war." Dr. Parker laughed. "They stopped making weapons because they thought humans were the only threat. Now they will learn the price of that mistake." Amanda walked to the main display screen. It showed the Sol system with hundreds of shipyards and factories. Every planet and moon had been turned into a military base. Mars built fighters. Europa constructed battleships. The asteroid belt had become one giant weapons factory. "How many ships do we have?" Amanda asked. General Bob Turner, her military advisor, stepped forward. 2,000 ships of all sizes, 500 Genesis-class dreadnoughts, 1,000 heavy cruisers, 500 destroyers, plus 10,000 fighters and support craft. The numbers were staggering. 50 years ago, humans had been forced to flee with a few hundred ships. Now they had a fleet that could conquer the galaxy. "And the soldiers?" Amanda asked. 3 million trained Marines," Bob replied. "They know how to fight each alien species. We studied alien biology and developed specific tactics for every race." Amanda remembered her grandfather's stories about the exile. He told her about the shame humans felt as they abandoned their colonies, about families torn apart, about dreams destroyed. The aliens thought they had taught humans a lesson about aggression. They were right. Humans had learned about aggression. They had learned to use it better. Dr. Stone's voice came from the video screen again. "Madam President, we have detected increased alien patrol activity near the Sol system. I think they are getting suspicious about our energy readings. For years, alien sensors had picked up strange signals from human space. The aliens dismissed them as natural phenomena. They could not imagine that humans were building such a massive military force. Let them be suspicious, Amanda said. In 6 months, it will not matter what they suspect. Colonel Brooks activated another display. This one showed training exercises in the outer system. Human ships moved in perfect formation. They appeared and disappeared using dimensional technology. They fired weapons that bent the laws of physics. The crews are ready, Kate said. They have trained for every possible scenario. Attack formations, defense patterns, siege tactics. We can adapt to any situation. Amanda looked around the command center. Everywhere she saw determination on human faces. These people had grown up hearing stories about the exile. Their parents and grandparents had been humiliated by the aliens. Now it was time for payback. What about the first target? Amanda asked. Captain, Murphy smiled coldly. We have identified the perfect choice. A Zephyrian trade convoy in the outer spiral. 12 ships, minimal escort, traveling through empty space. They will be alone when we find them. Perfect, Amanda said. The Zephyrians voted first for our exile. They should be the first to learn we have returned. Dr. Parker pulled up weapon specifications on his tablet. We will use minimum force. For the first contact, just enough to prove our superiority. We want to terrify them, not destroy them completely. Not yet, Amanda agreed. First, we show them what we have become. Then we give them a chance to surrender. If they refuse, we demonstrate what human anger really looks like. The room fell, silent as everyone contemplated the plan. For 50 years, humans had prepared for this moment. They had built weapons that could tear apart space itself. They had trained soldiers who could fight like machines. They had created ships that moved, like ghosts. The aliens had exiled humans for being too aggressive, too violent, too dangerous for civilized society. Soon they would discover that 50 years of isolation had not made humans more peaceful. It had made them perfect. General Turner cleared his throat. Madam President, what should we call the operation? Amanda thought for a moment. She remembered her grandfather's last words before he died. He had made her promise to restore human honor, to show the galaxy that humans could not be dismissed or forgotten. Operation Homecoming, she said, because we are not just returning to the galaxy. We are coming home to claim what should have been ours from the beginning. The command center erupted in approval. Officers and scientists nodded their heads. Soldiers standing guard smiled with anticipation. Amanda walked to the main window. Through the thick glass, she could see the Rocky Mountains under a clear blue sky. Somewhere beyond those mountains, massive shipyards worked around the clock. The greatest military force in human history was almost ready. Signal all fleet commanders, Amanda ordered. Operation Homecoming begins in exactly 6 months. Every ship, every soldier, every weapon will be ready. She paused and looked at the faces around her. These people had dedicated their lives to this moment. They had worked and planned and dreamed of the day when humans would return to the stars. The aliens thought they solved their human problem 50 years ago, Amanda said. They thought exile would teach us humility. They were wrong. They did not exile humans from the galaxy. They gave us time to become something far worse than they ever imagined. What are we now? Dr. Parker asked. Amanda's smile was as cold as deep space. We are what happens when you try to cage humanity. We are the storm that follows the exile. We are their worst nightmare coming true. The countdown to Operation Homecoming had begun. Beaten, that genocide would not go unpunished. The hunt for the last human had failed. The Galactic Council chamber had never seen such chaos. Representatives from 200 species filled the Great Hall, their voices raised in angry debate. At the center of the storm sat Ambassador Chen Vel of the Centauri Coalition, her blue skin flushed with indignation as she spoke. For 40 years, we accepted Zephyrian claims that humanity was extinct, she declared. We mourned them as another lost species, victims of natural disaster or internal conflict. Now we learn the truth. The Zephyrians committed genocide, and we did nothing to stop it. Across the chamber, Ambassador Thek Moore of the Zephyrian Empire rose to respond. His scaled face showed no emotion, but his hands trembled slightly as he spoke. The human conflict was a matter of imperial security. They posed a threat to galactic stability. Our actions were justified under the expansion protocols. 12 billion civilians? Chen Vel's voice cracked with fury. Children, artists, scientists. What threat did they pose? The debate had been raging for 3 days, ever since Jake Harrison's message reached the galactic networks. His broadcast from Admiral Crix Voth's flagship had been recorded and transmitted across known space. Every civilization had seen the face of humanity's last survivor, heard his promise of justice. More importantly, they had learned the truth about the Zephyrian Empire. In a secure conference room beneath the council chamber, 3 other ambassadors met in secret. They represented the species that the Zephyrians had marked for pacification, the same fate that had befallen humanity. Ambassador Reef Song of the Nexari spoke first, her aquatic voice translated by mechanical speakers. The human's message has given us hope. If one survivor can fight the entire Zephyrian fleet, perhaps resistance is possible. Ambassador Crystal Mind of the Veltar pulsed with agreement, their crystalline body refracting light in complex patterns. We have been analyzing the human's tactics. His approach shows remarkable efficiency, small targeted strikes that maximize damage while minimizing risk. The third ambassador, Hive Voice 7 of the Kepler 69C Collective, spoke through their insectoid translator. Our species shares information through neural links. We have already begun adapting the human strategies to our own capabilities. The Zephyrians will find us more difficult to exterminate than they expect. Far from the political debates, Jake Harrison continued his war. The battle at Rigel had been a turning point, not just tactically but psychologically. The Zephyrians now knew they faced a real threat. More importantly, the galaxy knew that genocide could be punished. Jake's new target was the Zephyrian Military Academy on Kepler 186F. The facility trained young officers who would one day command the Empire's fleets. If Jake could reach them, he could plant seeds of doubt that would grow for generations. The academy was heavily defended, surrounded by orbital weapon platforms and patrol ships. Getting inside would require a different approach than Jake's usual hit-and-run tactics. He needed to be subtle, careful, patient. Jake spent 2 weeks studying the academy's routines. Supply ships arrived daily, bringing food, equipment, and new students. The security checks were thorough but predictable. Jake found his opportunity when a transport carrying replacement parts for the Academy's computer systems approached the station. The Nightfall attached itself to the transport's hull like a parasite, using magnetic clamps and stealth fields to remain undetected. Jake waited until the ship docked, then slipped inside the Academy disguised as a maintenance worker. The Zephyrian cadets were young, idealistic, proud of their empire's power. They had been taught that the human war was a glorious victory against dangerous aliens who threatened galactic peace. They knew nothing about the reality of genocide. Jake made his way to the Academy's central computer core, avoiding patrols and security cameras. His target wasn't the military databases. Those were too well protected. Instead, he hacked into the cultural and historical archives, the systems that stored information about conquered species. What Jake uploaded into the Academy's network would have been impossible to obtain through normal channels. He had spent 40 years collecting it piece by piece, from abandoned human colonies and derelict ships. It was humanity's final gift to the galaxy, their complete cultural record, music from Earth's greatest composers, art from humanity's most talented painters and sculptors, literature from poets and writers across 12 billion lives, scientific discoveries that had pushed the boundaries of knowledge, videos of children playing, families laughing, couples dancing. But Jake didn't stop there. He also uploaded the final messages from Earth's last days, recordings of families saying goodbye, scientists working frantically to preserve their research even as the bombs fell, teachers reading stories to children in underground shelters, doctors treating the wounded as hospitals burned around them. The contrast was devastating. Here was a species that had created beauty, pursued knowledge, loved deeply, and fought courageously to the very end. These were not the dangerous aliens that Zephyrian propaganda described. These were people, different from Zephyrians in biology, but identical in their capacity for joy, sorrow, hope, and love. Jake's final upload was a message addressed directly to the cadets. His face appeared on every screen in the academy, speaking, "In perfect Zephyrian, young ones, you have been lied to. The humans your empire destroyed were not monsters or threats. They were explorers, dreamers, builders. They had families like yours, hopes like yours, fears like yours. They were preparing a cultural exchange program with your people when the attack came. They wanted to be your friends." Jake's voice carried. No anger now, only sadness. Your leaders took that possibility away from you. They robbed you of the chance to know us, to learn from us, to grow with us. They made you complicit in genocide before you were old enough to choose. The message continued for 20 minutes, showing the cadets images and videos from human civilization. Children laughing in playgrounds on Earth, scientists making breakthrough discoveries, artists creating works of stunning beauty, families gathering for celebrations and holidays. This is what your empire destroyed, Jake concluded. 12 billion. Unique individuals, each with their own dreams and stories. They are gone forever, and the galaxy is poorer for their loss. But you can choose a different path. You can refuse to let this happen again. You can be better than your leaders. The broadcast ended, but its impact was just beginning. Within hours, the Academy was in chaos. Cadets who had dedicated their lives to serving the Empire suddenly questioned everything they had been taught. Some broke down crying as they watched videos of human families destroyed by their own military. Others sat in stunned silence, trying to process the magnitude of their empire's crime. The Academy's commandant, General Vorkesh, tried to suppress the information, but it was too late. The cadets had already begun copying and sharing the files. Many refused orders to delete them. A few demanded to speak with their families, asking if the stories about the human war were true. Within days, the cultural files had spread beyond the Academy. Young Zephyrians across the Empire were learning about the species their leaders had destroyed. Many were horrified. Some began to defect from military service. Others demanded investigations into their government's actions. The Zephyrian Empire's carefully constructed narrative was crumbling. For 40 years, they had portrayed the human war as a necessary action against dangerous aliens. Now their own children were seeing the truth, that they had committed genocide against a peaceful, creative species that had wanted only friendship. Admiral Crix Voth, still nursing his wounds from the Rigel disaster, received reports of the Academy incident with growing despair. The human was no longer just a military threat. He was becoming a symbol of resistance that inspired others to question Zephyrian authority. Worse, the three species marked for pacification were organizing their defenses. The Nexari had formed a mutual defense pact with their neighbors. The Veltar were sharing defensive technologies with other crystalline species. The Hive Mind Collective was coordinating with insectoid civilizations across the galaxy. Jake Harrison's one-man war was becoming a galactic movement. The Admiral made a desperate decision. He would challenge the human to single combat, hoping to end this growing rebellion before it spread further. It was a violation of military protocol, but Admiral Crix Voth was running out of options. The challenge was broadcast across all known frequencies, reaching every corner of the galaxy. "Human survivor," the Admiral said, his voice carrying across the stars. "I am Admiral Crix Voth of the Zephyrian Imperial Fleet. You have caused enough damage. Face me in honorable combat, and let us end this war between our species." Jake received the message in his asteroid base, surrounded by the photographs of his dead loved ones. Amy smiled at him from their wedding picture, frozen in eternal happiness. His parents looked proud in their military uniforms. Friends and colleagues filled dozens of frames, all victims of Zephyrian genocide. For 40 years, Jake had dreamed of this moment, the chance to face the Empire's leaders directly. But he had learned something important during his decades of planning. Sometimes the most powerful weapon wasn't force. Sometimes it was truth. Jake composed his reply carefully, knowing that it would be. Commander Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the Earth defense ship Defiance. Through the wide windows, he could see them. Hundreds of alien ships floating in space like dark clouds blocking out the stars. They had been there for 3 years, now. 3 long years of keeping Earth trapped like a bug in a jar. The alien ships were not like anything humans had ever built. Some looked like giant crystals that sparkled with strange light. Others were long and thin, like metal snakes. The biggest ones were round and covered in spikes. They all had one thing in common. They were here to keep humans from leaving their own solar system. Jake turned away from the window and looked at his crew. These men and women had been his team for 2 years. They knew their job was hopeless, but they kept working anyway. That was what humans did. They kept fighting even when they could not win. "Sir, we have a message coming in from Earth Command," said Lieutenant Betty Cruz from her station. Her fingers moved quickly over the control panel. "They want to speak with you right away." Jake nodded and walked to his command chair. The main screen flickered to life. The face of Admiral Karen Stone appeared. She looked tired. Everyone looked tired these days. "Commander Morrison," Admiral Stone said, "I need you to listen carefully. We just got word from our scouts near Jupiter. Captain Ryan Cole tried to break through the alien line again." Jake felt his stomach drop. Ryan was a good pilot and a better friend. They had trained together at the academy. "What happened to him?" "His ship was disabled in under 10 minutes. The aliens used some kind of energy weapon we have never seen before. It shut down all his systems without damaging the hull. Ryan and his crew are alive, but they are prisoners now." The bridge went quiet. Everyone had heard the Admiral's words. This was not the first time someone had tried to break through the blockade. It was not the first time someone had failed either. "Admiral, how many ships do they have out there now?" Jake asked. Admiral Stone looked down at something off-screen. "Our best count is over 8,000 ships of different sizes. More arrive every week. The intelligence boys think they have ships from at least 6 different alien races working together." Jake had heard about the aliens before. The reptile-like Korthak were the leaders. They stood 9 feet tall and had teeth like knives. The insect aliens called Zephyrians clicked when they talked and had 4 arms each. Then there were the crystal beings called the Vex, who did not seem to have bodies at all, just floating rocks that glowed. "What do they want from us?" asked Lieutenant Cruz. "Why do they care if humans travel to other planets?" Admiral Stone's face grew hard. "They say we are too dangerous, too violent, too unpredictable. They have been watching us for 50 years. They say humans fight too much and cannot be trusted with space travel." Jake felt anger rise in his chest. Humans fought. Yes, but they also built amazing things. They explored. They learned. They helped each other when times were bad. The aliens only saw the fighting. "Sir, what about the colonies?" asked Sergeant Mike Torres from the weapons station. "What happened to our people on New Boston and Freedom Station?" The Admiral's face went dark. "The aliens gave our colonists 2 choices. Come back to Earth or be moved to a prison planet? Most chose to come home. The ones who stayed, she paused. We lost contact with them 3 months ago. The crew looked at each other. Everyone had friends or family in the colonies. The idea that they might be dead or imprisoned made the anger grow stronger. There is something else, Admiral Stone said. The aliens sent us a message yesterday. They want to talk. They are offering us a deal. What kind of deal? Jake asked, though he already knew he would not like the answer. They will let humans live on a small moon in the Kepler system. It has air and water. They say we can have our own little world there. All we have to do is give up Earth and promise never to leave that moon. The bridge exploded with angry voices. Several crew members stood up from their stations. Lieutenant Cruz slammed her hand on her control panel. They want us to be pets in a zoo, she said. That is exactly what they want, Admiral Stone replied. But Earth's government has already given them our answer. We will not abandon our home. We will not be prisoners on some alien moon. Jake felt proud of his planet's leaders. Humans did not give up. They did not run away when things got hard. Admiral, what happens now? He asked. Now we prepare for war. The aliens have been patient, but that patience is running out. Our spies think they will attack soon. Maybe in a few months. Maybe sooner. The crew went quiet again. Everyone knew Earth's military was strong, but the aliens had technology that was hundreds of years ahead of human science. Earth had nuclear weapons and laser cannons. The aliens had weapons that could shut down a ship without touching it. Sir, do we have any advantages at all? Asked Torres. Admiral Stone smiled for the first time during the call. Actually, we might. There is a project that has been under development for 20 years. It is classified, so I cannot tell you much. But our scientists think they have found something the aliens do not expect. What kind of something? Jake asked. The kind that might level the playing field. Dr. Lisa Park and her team have been working day and night. They think they have found a way to use human biology in a way no alien race has ever tried before. Jake wanted to ask more questions, but he could see the Admiral was not going to give more details. Commander Morrison, I need you and the Defiance to stay on patrol near the asteroid belt. Keep watching the aliens. Report anything unusual, and if they start moving toward Earth, you run. Do not try to fight them alone. Understood, Admiral. The screen went dark. Jake looked around at his crew. They all looked scared but determined. That was the human way, scared but stubborn. You heard the Admiral, Jake said. We keep watching. We keep reporting. And we trust that the smart people back home have a plan. As the Defiance moved toward the asteroid belt, Jake looked out at the alien ships one more time. They hung in space like a wall of metal and crystal, blocking Earth from the stars. But walls could be broken. Humans had been breaking walls for thousands of years. Somewhere on Earth, scientists were working on something that might give humanity a chance. Jake did not know what it was, but he knew one thing for sure. Humans would not go quietly into the night. They would fight with everything they had. The war for Earth's freedom was coming, and when it arrived, the aliens would learn what it really meant to face humanity. The combined galactic fleet assembled at Nexus Prime was the largest military force in recorded history. Ships from 47 different species formed battle lines that stretched across 3 star systems. Admiral HFY commanded over 30,000 vessels from her flagship, a massive Altarian dreadnought called the Unity of Worlds. The fleet included every type of warship the galaxy had ever produced. Kralix battle cruisers with their plasma cannon arrays, Zephyrian destroyers equipped with quantum torpedoes, hegemony carriers loaded with fighter craft. Each species had brought their finest vessels and most experienced crews. Admiral HFY floated in her command chamber, her gaseous form pulsing with nervous energy. Status report on human fleet movements, she ordered. Her tactical officer, a 6-armed Vorthan named Kextil, manipulated multiple displays simultaneously. Long-range sensors detect human ships approaching from the galactic rim. Estimated numbers are still incomplete, but we count at least 2,000 vessels. 2,000, HFY repeated. Against our 30,000. They are either very brave or very stupid. Captain Mordak of the Kralek's Heavy Assault Division disagreed. Admiral, these are not the same humans we exiled 50 years ago. They destroyed battle station dominance with a single ship. We should not underestimate them. Admiral HFY's form flared with irritation. One lucky shot does not make them invincible. Our combined firepower could sterilize entire star systems. No matter how advanced their technology, they cannot overcome such overwhelming numbers. On the bridge of the UES Dominion, President Amanda Cole stood beside Admiral Hayes as they watched the alien fleet through the main viewing screen. She had come personally to witness humanity's vindication. This battle would determine the future of the galaxy. Impressive sight, Admiral Hayes said, studying the enemy formation. I have never seen so many ships in one place. Are you concerned about the numbers? Amanda asked. Hayes smiled grimly. Not at all. Large formations like that are actually easier to destroy. They cannot maneuver quickly, and when we break their formation, they will panic. Captain Lisa Morgan approached from the fighter bay. She commanded the enhanced human pilots who would lead the assault. Her nervous system had been modified with quantum processors, allowing her to process information faster than any alien brain. Fighter squadrons ready for launch, she reported. All pilots are enhanced and connected to the tactical network. We will move as one mind with multiple bodies. Amanda nodded. The genetic enhancement program had been one of humanity's greatest achievements during the exile. Volunteers had undergone procedures that merged human intuition with artificial intelligence. They were no longer entirely human, but they were something better. Signal from Admiral HFY, the communications officer announced. She wants to discuss surrender terms. Admiral Hayes laughed. Put her through. The Altarian Admiral's gaseous form appeared on the main screen. Behind her, the alien fleet stretched to the horizon like a metal constellation. Admiral Hayes, I offer you one final chance to avoid unnecessary bloodshed. Surrender now, and we will allow your people to return to Earth unharmed. Generous offer, Hayes replied. But I have a counter-proposal. You surrender to us, and we will consider allowing your species to continue existing. Admiral HFY's form turned dark red with rage. You command 2,000 ships against our 30,000. Your arrogance will be your destruction. Numbers are not everything, Hayes said. But since you mentioned them, perhaps you should count again. As he spoke, space around Nexus Prime began to shimmer and distort. Dimensional portals opened throughout the system. More human ships poured through the rifts in reality. Hundreds became thousands. Thousands became tens of thousands. The alien fleet watched in growing horror as humanity's true strength revealed itself. Sleek Genesis-class dreadnoughts emerged from parallel dimensions. Quantum destroyers materialized from folded space. Fighter squadrons appeared as if conjured from nothing. Impossible, Admiral HFY whispered. Our sensors would have detected a fleet that large approaching. Your sensors are limited to this dimension, Hayes explained. We learn to hide. Our ships in spaces between spaces. We have been watching you for 50 years from places you cannot imagine. Captain Chris Adams of the UES Devastator reported fleet status. All ships have arrived and taken positions. We now have 15,000 vessels in combat formation. The numbers were still in the aliens' favor, but not by much. More importantly, the psychological advantage had shifted completely. The alien fleet had expected to face a desperate human remnant. Instead, they found themselves confronting a military force that could manipulate reality itself. Admiral HFY tried to maintain control of the situation. Even 15,000 ships cannot overcome our superior firepower. We have weapons that can crack planets. Show us, Hayes challenged. The alien fleet opened fire first. 30,000 ships unleashed everything they had. Energy beams that could melt asteroids. Missiles that could destroy space stations. exotic, weapons that twisted the laws of physics. The space between the fleets lit up with enough destructive force to sterilize entire solar systems. The human response was swift and terrible. Instead of raising shields, the human ships activated synchronized null field generators. The alien attack struck an invisible barrier that absorbed every form of energy. The devastating barrage simply vanished, its power redirected into quantum batteries. Phase 2, Admiral Hayes ordered calmly. The human fleet fired the collected energy back at its sources. Every alien weapon strike returned to its origin with doubled intensity. Entire squadrons of alien ships found themselves destroyed by their own weapons, reflected with perfect accuracy. The Kralix Heavy Assault Division ceased to exist in the first exchange. 3,000 years of military tradition ended in 30 seconds. Captain Mordak's last transmission was a simple message. The humans have become gods. Admiral HFY watched her carefully planned formation dissolve into chaos. All ships, evasive maneuvers. Scatter formation Alpha. Do not group together. But the human assault had only begun. Dr. Parker's quantum disruption cannons tore through the alien ranks like invisible death. Ships simply ceased existing as their molecular bonds collapsed. The Genesis-class dreadnoughts unleashed gravitic pulse weapons that created miniature black holes, consuming everything within their event horizons. Captain Lisa Morgan led the enhanced fighter assault. Her squadron moved with impossible coordination, each pilot connected to the others through quantum entanglement. They attacked like a single organism with 1,000 bodies. Alien point defense systems could not track targets that moved with shared consciousness. Fighter Squadron 1, engaging the Zephyrian destroyer group, Lisa reported. Her voice was calm despite moving at speeds that would have killed unenhanced humans. Her fighters phased through solid matter, appearing inside alien ships before unleashing their weapons. The Zephyrians had no defense against enemies who could become incorporeal at will. The battle's turning point came when the human ships revealed their final advantage. Captain Emma Wallace activated the dimensional phase drive on her destroyer, the UES Phantom. Her ship flickered between dimensions, becoming impossible to target or predict. All ships, activate phase drives, Admiral Hayes ordered. The human fleet began shifting between realities. One moment they fired from directly ahead of alien positions. The next moment they attacked from behind, having moved through parallel space. The aliens found themselves fighting enemies who could be everywhere and nowhere simultaneously. Admiral HFY realized the hopelessness of their situation. This is not warfare, this is slaughter. Her communication officer, barely maintaining his composure, delivered the final report. Admiral, we have lost 60% of our fleet. All Kralix vessels are destroyed. The Zephyrian contingent is down to 12 ships. Only the core battle group remains functional. How long has the battle lasted? HFY asked. 43 minutes, Admiral. 43 minutes to destroy the greatest military force in galactic history. Admiral HFY understood that this was not just a military defeat. This was the end of one age and the beginning of another. Admiral Hayes opened communication to all surviving alien ships. This is your final warning. Surrender now, or we will demonstrate what human anger really looks like when we stop holding back. The remaining alien commanders looked at their tactical displays. Their once mighty fleet was scattered wreckage. The humans had not even sustained casualties. It was not a battle between equals. It was extermination. Admiral HFY's form dimmed to almost transparent. All ships, cease fire. We surrender unconditionally. Wise choice, Admiral Hayes replied. The Galactic Council is dissolved. Humanity will now administer this galaxy. Those who cooperate will prosper. Those who resist will be removed. President Amanda Cole stepped forward to address the defeated alien fleet. 50 years ago, you exiled us for being too aggressive, too dangerous for your peaceful galaxy. You were correct. We were dangerous then, But 50 years of isolation did not make us peaceful. It made us perfect. She paused, looking out at the debris field that had once been the pride of 47 civilizations. The age of alien rule is over. The age of humanity has begun.